Insulin resistance is an abnormal condition where the cells of your vital organs of the body simply don't respond to insulin. Do you feel like you have insulin resistance? Maybe your weight is increasing without any reason. Maybe you are always craving food. Chances are you may be dealing with insulin resistance. With that in mind, let's dive right into 10 warning signs that you may have insulin resistance. Starting off at sign number 10, increased weight. Are you noticing that your waist circumference has been increasing over the past few days? Well, don't panic just yet, even though all healthy adults move up and down in their weight. But a sudden increase in weight without any visible reason could be a sign of insulin resistance. This is because insulin resistance disturbs different kinds of metabolism in your body. Some experts suggest that obesity is the cause of insulin resistance, whilst others think the exact opposite, meaning that insulin resistance is what causes obesity. To explain it simply, insulin is a pancreatic hormone that has the function of removing excess glucose out of the blood and into the cells. So when the cells of your body fail to sense this insulin, the pancreas secretes even more, leading to a lot of insulin buildup in the blood. But unfortunately, this high level of insulin can offer no help to your body if you have insulin resistance, and the blood glucose levels, well, they stay at their high levels. Doctors say that these high insulin levels are responsible for making you more hungry and ultimately the cause of weight gain. High levels of insulin also increase your fat pockets, meaning you gain weight quicker. So if you are experiencing unexplained weight gain, we suggest that you first limit your fat and sugar intake and check with your doctor. Number 9. Dark patches on your skin. Dark skin patches, or pigmented skin, are some of the most common symptoms of insulin resistance. This involves the thickening of the skin and discoloration of body folds. The scientific name for this is acanthosis nigricans. That was a big word. Well, in this condition, your skin surface cells reproduce rapidly, causing pigmentation called melanin. This occurs because of high levels of insulin in the blood. Besides getting dark patches on your skin, you might also see other skin issues like acne and large numbers of unwanted hair. The most common areas where these skin conditions develop on pre-diabetic or insulin-resistant patients are the neck, elbow, knuckles, lips, armpits, and groin. These patches are very visible, so diagnosing them for insulin resistance should be quite simple. Number 8. High blood pressure. Nearly 45% of adults in the United States have high blood pressure. That's nearly half of the country. Even though there are many causes of high blood pressure, but one of the biggest causes is increased blood glucose levels and insulin levels. This is why you might have noticed that many diabetic patients are also taking medications for heart problems. But why does this happen? Well, because insulin controls the salt absorption in our bodies, so when insulin resistance kicks in, suddenly our blood pressure increases. But things don't end there. So if you have high blood pressure, also sometimes called hypertension, then be sure to check your blood insulin levels. Number 7. Extreme desire for food. Let's admit it, who doesn't love to stuff their belly with a full day's meal all at once? But when this craving becomes so extreme that you are just craving food after food, then it may be a warning sign telling you something much more serious is at hand. What some people think as cravings could actually be elevated levels of insulin in the blood, which is surely not so cool. According to the global diabetes community, an increased desire for food occurs when your body cells don't sense insulin and so fail to get glucose in them. Now, because your body cells are running low on energy, what do? Well, they bring about those cravings, so you eat more food to get more energy. These elevations in insulin not only increase hunger but also heighten the taste of the sweet taste, which is quite a weird side effect. This is why many diabetic and pre-diabetic people simply crave more sweet food. Number 6. Frequent urination. The most annoying part is when you are ready to go somewhere and then suddenly you feel like going to the washroom. Can something be any more irritating? Even though we all experience this, maybe when we are anxious or feeling shy. But this is very common for those with insulin resistance. Studies show that insulin resistance is associated with an overactive bladder. To put this to the test, more than 150 female patients with and without overactive bladder were asked to participate in an experiment. The blood samples of these female patients were analyzed to find out the levels of insulin, glucose, and fats. Researchers found that insulin levels were exceptionally high in patients with overactive bladder, thus provoking the link of insulin resistance in causing frequent urination. The reason behind this is quite simple. Glucose attracts water in the kidneys, and so leads to the urge to urinate. Sadly, along with these urges, the patient might also experience bladder infections. Number 5. Increased blood glucose levels. This is one of the most obvious and direct signs that you have insulin resistance. Like we have been talking throughout this whole video, insulin resistance stops insulin from transporting your blood glucose. And so it leads to, any guesses? Yeah, high blood glucose levels. These increased blood levels of glucose signal the pancreas to secrete more insulin, and that puts pressure on the pancreas and severely suppresses its release of hormones. Studies have found that if your blood glucose levels stay high for a prolonged period of time, it can lead to inflammation of the pancreas that can cause cell death. Yeah, you heard that right. Inflammation from high blood glucose levels can kill the cells of your pancreas. Elevated blood glucose levels also cause many other problems like blurred vision and infections. Number 4, feeling tired. Like some of the other signs on today's list, feeling tired in itself is not dangerous. I mean, we all get tired after a long day's work, right? Who doesn't love a good nap? But again, your extreme fatigue or tiredness could be likely caused by insulin resistance. Stats show that more than 60% of the people who have newly developed diabetes report tiredness as a symptom. Because insulin resistance takes time to become obvious, be on the lookout for these potential warning signs. The reason why you feel tired goes back to insulin being unable to transport your glucose into your cells. So as a result, you run low on energy, and your body just wants to shut down for a few moments and go to sleep. Number 3, brain fog. Brain fog is the term used for signs like lack of mental clarity, confusion, and forgetfulness. These signs are becoming very common due to several reasons. Surprisingly, insulin resistance can also cause brain fog and affect your mental capabilities. Want to know how? Check this out. Studies say that hypoglycemia, or high blood glucose levels as we know it, damage the structure of blood vessels in your body. It also disturbs your blood flow to different organs as well as the brain. Now, because you have low blood supply to the brain, it affects your mental performance. Not only this, but high blood glucose levels also increase the secretion of special hormones in the brain called neurotransmitters. These hormones are normally good for your brain, but their excessive release causes damage to brain cells and causes inflammation. And if you have learned anything about inflammation so far, it can kill cells. Experts of Harvard Medical School say that glucose is the primary source of fuel for the brain. The brain utilizes glucose through its metabolism and produces energy molecules. But large amounts of glucose supplied to the brain can also be damaging. The brain can't handle all of this glucose all at once. So if you have insulin resistance or not, in either case, be very careful about your glucose intake because it can have drastic effects on your brain health. Number 2, getting a tingling sensation. One of the biggest places affected by insulin resistance is your peripheral nervous system in your body, which can cause a tingling sensation. In fact, many people with diabetes and insulin resistance even experience sensations of burning, prickling, and itching that all come about with very high amounts of blood glucose. In some diabetic patients, this condition gets so worse that a person gets a diabetic foot, as it's called, because of damaged nerves and poor blood circulation. Now, before we show you the most common warning sign that may indicate you have insulin resistance, if you are finding today's video helpful, then go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Also, leave a comment saying I subscribed, so we can personally reply to each of your comments. Number 1. Always thirsty to drink more water. This goes back to the other warning signs, like feeling hungry and tired. Increased thirst is an easily manifested symptom of high blood sugars. The reason for this is linked to frequent urination. When you urinate frequently, this excess removal of water signals the brain of depleting water stores in the body. And so, what does the brain do? Yeah, it makes you feel thirsty. Now, have you been dealing with this condition or seen any of the warning signs we showed you today? If yes, then be sure to share your experience in the comments below. To see the next best health hack, click here.